Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our Saturday classes. Thank you for being a part of the Real Estate Hub, and I just hope that you're finding this information super valuable. Feel free to add your friends and family. Also, inside this group, you can go to the little search icon and search different topics. And the goal of these classes is to build your knowledge and confidence around real estate so that when you are buying or selling, you are in a great position and feeling very clear and very confident in making decisions. So we're going to talk today specifically about the risk of overpricing your property. And ultimately, at the end of the day, we all share the same goal. We want to help you get the most possible money for your property. However, there is a risk in overpricing. Pricing is one of those things that whenever I talk to a potential seller and I say, well, what do you think your property is worth? Most commonly, the answer is, I'm not sure. Or they're super hopeful that it's worth maybe a little bit more than the actual market value. Sometimes clients are surprised that the property is worth as much as it is, thinking that maybe it was worth valued a little bit lower, but happy to find out it's valued higher than they thought. So there's a lot of unknowns for individuals who don't know the current market that they're in and or haven't sat down to look at what their property value is. And at the end, I'll share some information with you to make sure that you are up to date annually on your property value. If you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to send me a message on Facebook or Instagram and I can add you to the Real Estate Hub. We post articles, tips, information, answer questions in addition to these Saturday classes. So let's dive into the risk of overpricing. Now, as I mentioned, we all share the same goal. We want to get you the most possible money for your property. And there's different strategies to help you do that, but there is a risk if you overprice your property. Now, pricing is also going to be influenced by your timelines. If you are moving because you have to move, maybe you're relocating for work or you are going through personal life changes, those timelines, if those timelines are short, that's going to influence the price that we choose. Now, maybe you are just getting your property in the market, just beginning your search for your next property, whether you're, finding a larger home to fit your family or you're downsizing or buying an investment property. When if you have a lot of time, then that's also going to influence the price that you can choose from when it comes to getting your property listed. But we'll talk about the different options and basically make sure that you feel by the end of this class very confident in choosing the right price for your property. We also want to help you avoid stress and surprises. Now, in real estate, lots of things come up. There's a lot of things that are outside our control and situations that we have to navigate. But price shouldn't be one of those. And when you have a strong price, you position your property well, you put yourself in the best position or having the best opportunity to get the most money for your property. So let's look at this information here. So what impacts the price of your home? Now, there's a few different factors that go into selecting the right price. And oftentimes, probably the most common statement that I hear from sellers when we sit down for that initial meeting is they tell me about the properties in their neighborhood that are for sale and what those sellers are asking for their property, often interpreting that information as this is what my property is worth. And that's not always the case. The active listings inside your neighborhood is basically your competition. When buyers are searching online for properties, they are seeing all of those properties inside your neighborhood and they are your competition. They're not necessarily a really good, clear indication of your property value or the price for your property because they haven't sold. Once a property has sold, that's where we know where the market value of that property is. And it's also important to keep in mind as a seller that when buyers purchase your property, most often they're going to be working with lenders and have a mortgage, and those lenders are going to look at the solds in your neighborhood to determine their approval for your buyer's mortgage. So it's really important that you look at what is the competition in my neighborhood, but also what are properties actually selling for, and that's going to help you choose your proper price. Now, of course, if you are in a hurry, if your timeline is short and you need to get moved, then we're going to look at a price that's more competitive, maybe than the neighborhood properties, because if buyers have a lot of different options, we want to have a price that helps to inspire them or encourage them to come and view your property. If there's a lot of competition in your neighborhood, say there's 20 different properties within 5 kilometers with similar type homes inside your price range, what's going to make a buyer want to come see your property over someone else's? So that we really want to make sure that we're priced competitively if your timeline is short. If you have a bit of a longer timeline, then you have an opportunity to test the market with price a little bit more, but there is risk of overpricing, which I'll talk to you about in this class today. Now, also important to understand that the market type influences the price for your property. So there's 3 different types of market. There's a seller's market, a balanced market, and a buyer's market. Focusing on sellers and buyers markets, seller's market is where there is more buyers than there is inventory. And this is where we can get into a lot of multiple offers. Properties are selling for over ask. A great example of a seller's market was over COVID. A buyer's market is where there's more inventory than there is buyers, and buyers are typically looking for the best priced property to get into. So it really, that the market you're in is going to also have a huge influence on your pricing strategy. And again, just talking about the competition is so important to understand that when you list your property, your price is going to be a competitive factor in whether or not buyers want to come and view your property. Think about it yourself. When you are searching for a property, on the MLS or the realtor system, usually the first parameter you're going to put in is your budget. And then you're going to go bedrooms and bathrooms and location, maybe yard size, that sort of thing, whatever your factors are. But price is really the first thing you're going to choose. Now, the right price also impacts visibility. So when your property is priced really well at market value or even slightly below market value, you're likely to get more visibility. And this is something our real estate team tracks when we put new listings on the market. We're always paying attention to how many views are we getting, how many emails are we getting requesting information on that property, how many showings are we getting as a result of that property being live on the MLS, and when we host an open house, are we getting a lot of people through that open house? To give you a great example, we had a property in Ramara Township. We serve a lot of homeowners inside the Simcoe North and Muskoka area. And we had a property in Ramara Township. It was priced right at market value. The family had to sell. They wanted to price competitive. So we had a market value property. And when we put that listing up, within a couple of days, we hosted an open house. And at that open house, we had a lineup out the door and down the driveway. And within 24 hours of that open house, that property was sold. So the right price can drive more traffic and more visibility to your property, which increases the number of interested buyers that would want to put an offer in to purchase your property, and that can help you actually get more money. Now, increased showings promote buyer engagement and interest. So if we got lots of showings, we know that you're priced well. If you, within the first 10 days of your listing going live, if it's very quiet, you're not having regular showings, then that's a good indication that maybe your price is off a little bit. Enhanced open house traffic. Again, if we host an open house because you wish to have one, and it's very quiet, then we know that price is likely going to be one of the biggest influences on whether or not people are interested to even come and walk through and view your property. Now, there is some consequences of overpricing, and this is a conversation that I have with all of my clients, because at the end of the day, you decide the price that you want to sell your property at, but you're going to make an educated and an informed decision based on the information that your real estate agent is going to share with you. So some of the consequences of overpricing is you're going to have less interested buyers, and less people through might mean that you might get less offers, or your property might sit on the market for longer. Remember, buyers are very smart. They have access to the MLS system where they are comparing your property and price to all of the other properties that are available to them. They're using AI now and Google, and they might have a real estate agent who's sending them properties that are priced well, and your property might not be included. Or if they share your property with their agent might say that, it's priced out of the market, and that might deter them from actually wanting to come and view your property. The longer that your property is on the market, the more concerns that buyers could have. They might think, one, that it's overpriced, two, that there might be something wrong with the property that, and it can be a deterrent. Think about if you're looking at properties and you've seen that it's been listed for over 100 days, you might not be as excited to go see that one as another property that's been up in the last few days on the market. So it really can influence the number of people that want to actually come and walk through. And our goal is to get as many people through that front door so that we can hopefully generate as many offers as possible. Now, if you're overpriced, eventually, and you have to sell, eventually you're going to be in a position where you have to start working through price reductions. And that can actually, for some buyers, can signal desperation. And it also, as price reductions continue or that it sits on the market longer, it just increases skepticism. One of the other things that can happen is the final sale on your property might be very different from where you wanted it to be. So if you're priced over market value and your property sells at market value or slightly below market value because you need to get it sold and you have to deal with the offer that you get, that distance between where you wanted it to be and where you actually sold can feel really disappointing. So when you price closer to market value, you are more likely to get offers within that range, and it's going to feel like you did well on the sale of your property. So it is something that we want to try to help you avoid, is feeling disappointed in the amount you actually get for your property, because the market determines the price, right? At the end of the day, it's the buyers inside the marketplace that are going to write you offers to make a purchase. So the domino effect of overpricing leads to fewer showings and less interest. It can result in fewer offers and missed opportunities. There could be the perfect buyer out there for you, but they didn't come and look at your property because it was overpriced. It was priced outside of the market value. Again, remember, buyers are so smart and they have access to so much great information. Consequently, a price drop becomes necessary to attract buyers. Buyers can assume desperation, or they might lose trust in the value of your property. They might be concerned about the resale value of that property, which could impact whether or not they wanted to put an offer in, and it's all just because of the wrong price. And final sale price could be lower than market value, or it could be at market value, but because there's such a distance from where you wanted it to be to where the market is, again, that could feel disappointing. So we really want to help you to avoid that. Selling your property at the right price and getting it started strong with a good competitive price is really the best strategy to having a successful sale. And at the end of the day, when you price your property at market or value, even just slightly below, if you're looking to be more competitive, it gives you more control. You have buyers who want to work with you versus you trying to work with buyers, right? So when you have, when you're in control of the pricing and you've got a lot of interest, you're in control of timelines, what type of offers and conditions that you're willing to work with. So it really puts you in control as the seller versus putting the buyer in control if you're overpriced. So you're going to attract more qualified buyers to your listing. You're going to create urgency and excitement in the marketplace. Again, you're going to have more control over dates and timelines, and you're likely to get stronger offers faster with strategic pricing. So as I wrap this up, I hope this gave you some food for thought. And I just want you to think about, what are the things that are going to impact the sale price of your property? It's going to be your timeline, the current market that you're in, the recent solds inside your neighborhood, as well as the competition, the current active listings. All of those things are going to be factors. And what I recommend for clients is actually sitting down and doing an annual real estate review with myself. And if you're inside Simcoe North and or Muskoka, I'm happy to sit down and do this with you. If you're outside those regions, feel free. My email's here to send me an email, and I'll actually look up active agents inside your area and connect you with an active agent that's doing well inside your marketplace. But a real estate review helps you to understand the current market value of your property. And most of us, if we have financial investments, at least once a year, we are taking the time to have a look at where those investments are and how they're doing. And I really, your real estate property is an investment. And I want to make sure that you understand where the value is so that you can make smart and informed decisions. Now, if you are getting ready to sell and you're watching this video and you're thinking, okay, how do I set the right price? Just feel free to connect. I'll sit down, go through the numbers with you, help you come up with the right price, or at least give you some food for thought when it comes to where your property should be priced at in terms of the current market value. If you're not part of my real estate hub, feel free to send me a message. I'll connect you in. Otherwise, I will see you next Saturday.